Okay, so this is the continuation of our topic regarding what are the standard under the European Union. So, so we're on what are the different requirements for the different establishment that are planning to export at the EU. So next, as mentioned a while ago, the whole value chains need to be under the control of the CA. So in compliance with the operators, these requirements are evident on the following statement. So for example, have been caught and handled on board vessels, or the fish or the fishery products are being caught and handled on board or under a fishing vessels. It was landed, handled, and were appropriate prepared, processed for frozen and towed hygienically in compliance with the requirements are being laid down or being indicated. Most importantly, it provides the specific set of preferences in the legislation that are direct application by the operators. These key requirements in terms of hygiene requirements and reality are not more difficult to comply with than any other type of requirements such as those directly based on the codex. So dapat, yung mga fishing vessels, meron silang record ng kanilang fishery products, kailan ito hinuli, saan ito nahuli or saan ito kinuha, sa parte ng dagat, then what day ito nahuli, then what are the different process that they apply on those fishery products. So requirements for all fishery products. So the particular requirements for those products are to be found in the following statement. So they need to satisfy a maximum health standard. This particular paragraph refers to the health standard for most fishery products such as the organoleptically, histamine, parasite, toxins, and so on. So this must be checked. So the organoleptical evaluation or the center evaluation of the product, the histamine content of the product, the parasites that are found in those products, and the toxin that are being or within a certain species of fish, as well as the microbiological standards, which are quite minimal, so applying for ready-to-eat products. So, also have been packaged, stored, have been packaged, stored, and transported in compliance with a set of standards. In this case, it refers to very simple principles in terms of packaging, storage to avoid them for becoming a source of contamination, and temperature controls to avoid the deterioration of a product. So, towards melting ice for fresh, so it must be under less than 18 degrees Celsius for frozen products and less than 9 degrees Celsius for brine frozen fish to be canned. And how these same principles needed to be maintained during the transport. So, dapat naka-maintain talaga yun siya. So, another specific requirements for all aquaculture products. So, besides all the requirements listed so far, for the following statement applies specifically to the product originated from aquaculture practices. It must be guaranteed covering live animals and products thereof. It from aquaculture origin to provide by the residue plan submitted in accordance with the Directive 96/23 EC, in particular under Article 29 thereof, so are being fulfilled. So countries wishing to export aquaculture products to the EU need a particular approval, which is given upon the compliance with the veterinary residue monitoring requirements as an outline under Article 29 and 30 of the Council Directive under 96/23 EC. In particular, Article 29, Section 1 indicated that of the directive states that the third country must submit a plan setting out the guarantee which it offers or regard the monitoring of the groups of residue and substances referred in Annex 1 of the Council Directive under 96/23 AC. So, the guarantees provided by the third countries must met the following. Met the requirements of Article 4 and specific particular laid down under Article 7 of this directive, and met the requirements of Article 11, Section 2 of Council's Directive as amended by Directive 2003-74 AC. So these are the following key points. Why do we need to follow this. We need to guarantee for the by the third countries. So under Article 4 of Council Directive 96/23 EC that specifies inter alia that there must be a centrally coordinated residue monitoring plan in places. So it must be have a monitoring plan, especially in terms of the residue. Under Article 7 and then 1 of Council Directive 96/23 EC, that requires a description of the legislation of governing of the authorization, distribution, and use of veterinary medicinal products. So dapat, if gagamit tayo ng veterinary or medicinal products para sa mga fishery products natin, that is under an optimum or at a safe level. Dapat kung ano yung requirements or needed na amount, so dapat yun lang yung ilalagay or ihahalo doon sa mga fishery products. So under Article 7 and then 6 of Council Directive 96/23 EC, that states that the number of samples taken should be in accordance with the sampling levels that frequencies laid down under Annex 4 of the said article. So, kailangan hindi isang sample lang, hindi lang isang beses itatry or i-run yung sample na itetest. So, dapat maraming beses siya. It's a random sampling. So, we have an initial plan to be submitted by the third country. So, these are the following initial plan. So, information of the structure of the CA. So, ano yung structure ng CA? Then, the description of the legislative, a list of approved laboratories for residue control and accreditation status of this laboratory. So, the rules covering the collection of official samples, then the details of measures to be taken in the event of an infringement. The residue monitoring program is submitted by the CA of the country of the origin to the EC for the initial approval of the needs and represented annually for evaluation and renewal. So, the aim of this evaluation is to assist whether the third country regulatory system described for the control of contaminants, veterinary residue, the authorization of veterinary medicine products, and the control plan offer guarantees which are at least equivalent to those provided by the community legislation. So, for that, we are following the RAST, or the Rapid Alert System for Food and Feed. So, the RAST 18 is a tool that the EU used to enable the quick and effective exchange of information between the member states and the Commission when a risk to human health are detected in the food and feed chain. RAST, on the other hand, provides a round-the-clock service to ensure the urgent notifications are sent, received, and responded in order to shortest time as possible. So, the notification can be either alerts or information. So, alert notifications are sent when the food or feed presenting the risk is already on the market and immediately action is required. So, information notification, on the other hand, are sent when risk has been identified but immediately action by other member state is not necessary as the product has not reached in their market. Okay. Next, we have certification, traceability, and eligibility. A very important criterion not really obvious on the certificate but as a consequence of the official control over production chain and traceability is the issues of eligibility of products and their raw materials. The nature of the official control implies that all elements that the production chain to be approved for purpose by the CA, so these critical issues has important ramifications as the different stages of the production may be under the different authorities. So we have different food law requirements for traceability. So such as we have the Codex Alimentarius, the ISO, and the EC or the European Commission. So we have the following. So first we have the Codex Alimentarius Commission. So it defines traceability as the ability to follow the movement of a product food through specified stages of production, processing, and distribution. So they monitor. They are the international the monitoring group for the international food standards. So we have the Codex Alimentarius. Next, we have the ISO 8402 of 1994. The traceability is the ability of to trace the history, application, or location of the entity by means of record information. So we have the EC, regulations of the EC, number 178, series of 2002. Traceability is the ability to track any feed producing animal or substance that will be used for consumption through all stages of production, processing, and distribution, including raw materials. So we need to have traceability for that one. Why is it really necessary to have a traceability for that? So, for example, there is no supply chain. So, is a business operator obliged to match an outputs and the inputs? So, for that, traceability facilitates withdrawal of faulty food or feed from the market. It provides consumer with targeted and accurate information on the specific products. It covers all food and feed business operators without prejudice to existing legislation on specific sectors. The affected importers who are required to be able to identify from whom the product was exported in the country of origin. It's also obliged that the businesses to be able to identify at least the immediate supplier for the product in question and the immediate subsequent recipients with the exemption of retailer of the final consumer. So one step back and one step forward. So, if wala siyang traceability or wala tayong control with regarding the traceability of the product. So, for example, nagkaroon ng problem si customer B, si customer D. So, if the operator doesn't have a traceability, hindi niya ngayon matatrack if sinong supplier yung merong mali or merong problema doon sa product. Kasi, kapag alam niya na doon sa supplier, for example, si supplier 2 yung nagkamali or merong problema doon sa product, agad magkakaroon siya ng response. Ano ba ang meron doon? Ano pa problema? For example, si supplier 2, hindi niya dinisclose yung raw materials na ginamit niya. Hindi niya in-indicate if ilan yung label ng chemical or agents na hinalo niya doon sa mga raw materials niya. So for example, if si customer D, meron siyang allergy in terms of nuts. Then sa supplier 2, hindi niya nilagay doon sa kanyang product na merong nuts yung kanyang product. So ngayon, if walang traceability na ganun, hindi malalaman ngayon yung operator if sino yung i-blame niya or sino ba sa mga supplier niya ang merong kasalanan if the same lahat ng product na dinidistribute nila sa market. But it has a content or an ingredient na may hinalo doon sa isang product para i-replace yung ibang product. Di ba, common na nga ngayon na yung milk, sinasubstitute na using soybean. Nagkakaroon na tayo ng mga easy or instant na mga raw materials na ginagamit sa market. But, again, it is just an artificial, by the use of artificial ingredients or synthetic ingredients or synthetic chemicals na hinahalo na doon sa mga product. Okay? So, kailangan i-trace talaga if saan nanggaling, anong day, ano yung mga ingredients na hinalo, then pinalo ba nila yung mga requirements na kailangan, so dapat naka-stipulate yun. So, dapat ma-monitor yun. So, it is an operator's responsibility again to primarily ensure with the compliance with the food law and the particular, the safety of the food, the food or feed business operators. To the complement and supports in this principle, the competent authority or the CA of the member of the state must assure adequate and effective control. So, when food or feed is unsafe, business operators are obliged to withdraw or recall the product, to notify the competent national authorities so as they are able to monitor whether appropriate measures have been taken or requires the additional measures to be taken for reducing or eliminating a food safety risk. So we have a traceability guidance for that. The CA should verify the efficiency of traceability system adopted by the operator. The principle is one step backward and one step forward. From who does the product come and what is done with it, whom is given to it. So to make it possible, the system be clearly documented and followed. The following are some of the key points to be observed. All products entering the establishment should be allocated with a unique batch code. So meron silang batch code para easily lang ma-identify kapag pare-parehong product, easily lang ma-identify if anong product yung i-recall kapag may nagkaroon ng problema. Halimbawa, batch 7 nagkaroon ng problema. So if walang batch code yung lahat ng product, then iba-iba day sila ginawa. So hindi mo na alam ngayon kung anong product ba yung i-recall mo. Anong product ba yung ipo-pull out mo doon sa market. So dapat they have a unique batch code for that. So product should be identifiable by batch code while in the control of the operators. So the product consignee or the product that consigned to the another operator should be identifiable by the batch code also. So it is a unique barcode na nakaset if ano ba yung code noong manufacturer, then anong batch ba ginawa yung product. So, under traceability guidance also, as a minimum system of traceability, we should consider or we should record the following essential information in relation to each and every batch. So, dapat ito yung nakalagay sa mga label or sa bottle or sa can or sa packaging material sa mga product. There should be a documented evidence to support this indication. We have the name of the supplier, date and time of receipt, the division or the addition to batch, the name of consignee, the date and time of dispatch. So dapat yun yung nakalagay doon or naka-indicate sa mga product before it will arrive to the operator. Okay. Ganon yung mayayari. Kapag walang traceability, hindi siya na-maintain yung traceability niya. So lahat pwedeng magiging cause or mabiblame if saan ba yung may mali doon. So pero pag merong traceability, so you will be determined if nagka-problema kay customer D, so matitrace mo ngayon if saan yung may problema, so saan yung aayusin mo. So next we have the European Union rules. So, products with imported raw materials, based on the principles of the official control, the EU Health Certificate for seafood products exported to the EU, which are derived wholly or partly seafood products exported to the EU, which are derived from raw materials product must have the following. Have originated from a third country that are eligible to export the animal product to the EU. They have been derived from foreign premises eligible to export to the EU and be eligible to be exported to the European Committee or European Community. So they are able to comply with all the requirements or necessary requirements being asked or being requested by the EC or the European Commission and the CA or the certified authority. A copy of this import certificate or original export certificate must be available and requested by the CA. So for foreign flag vessels that landing in your country, foreign flag vessels landing in other countries are difficult to issue for CAs and industry worldwide. In principle, foreign flag vessels should be under the control of the CA of the country of flag. If the country of origin of the vessel is as well as authorized to export to the EU, then the legislation contemplates some options. One of them is a memorandum of understanding of the MOU between the CA for verification of conformity against the same EU requirements. However, this is not the case in many countries as vessels are flagged in the country with no CA or have been outside the jurisdiction of the country of origin for extended period time. So, this is the usual scenario in the tuna canning industry. With fleets with great mobility, fleet operation in distant waters, and the use of contracted repair vessels, in these cases, while not official, some potential strategies could be used to maintain the required level of official controls. So independent vessels, on the other hand, when vessels are not in charter agreement with locally based companies, then they must be following or the following condition shall be applied. So fishery products imported from a factory or freezer, the vessel flying the flag of third country shall come from a vessel that appear on a list down and up and updated accordance with the procedure set out by the EU regulation in the country of origin. However, if the vessel is not on the list of vessels approved to export, it may also be eligible if one of the bases of joint communication from the local CA and the one that the country of which the vessel is flagged or on the condition that the third country appears on the list of third countries from which an import of fishery products are permitted. So all products are unloaded in the receiving country. The CA of the third country has inspected the vessel and has declared that it complies with the community requirements, or under the MOU with the CA of the country of origin, the local CA delegated to regularly inspect the vessel to ensure that its count continues to comply with the community requirements while operating in the local waters. So, under the EU legislations, under the EU legislation, so we have under regulation of the European Commission number 1005/2008, establishing of a community system to prevent, deter, eliminate the IUU fishing. So yun. It's being applied to all fishing vessels that seeks to ensure the full traceability of all marine fishery products traded with the EU. Excludes freshwater fishery products, aquaculture products, ornamental fish under Chapter 3, catch certification scheme for importation and exportation of fishery products. So a catch certificate shall be contain all the information specified by in the specimen shown in Annex 2 and shall be validated by a public authority of the flag state with the necessary powers to attest the accuracy of the information. In agreement with flag state within the framework of the cooperation set of the Article 20, Section 4, the catch certificate may be established, validated, or submitted by electronic means or be replaced by electronic traceability system, ensuring the same level of control by the authority. So, under the European Union rules, so those close loopholes that allow illegal operators to profit from their activities. One, marine fishery products validated as legal by the relevant flag state exporting the state can be imported or exported from the European Union. A European blacklist has been drawn up covering both IUU vessels and state that turn a blind eye of illegal fishing. So they will be blacklisted if ganun yung ginagawa nila, if they're practicing IUU fishing. European Union operators who fish illegally anywhere in the world under any flag faces substantial penalties. So next, we have other requirements that being asked by the EU. So other example for important requirements to be considered for gaining and maintaining the EU markets to be accessed follow. So we have the label, the POW catch area, laboratories to be used for official control, and potable water. So of course, so it must have a labels. So labels requirements for labeling are to be based on the Council Directive 2013, under 2000, Section 13 of the Economic Commission or the European Commission on labeling, presentation, and advertising of foodstuffs to the final consumer. It aims to ensure that the consumer gets all the essential information with regards to the composition of the products, manufacturer, method of storage and preparation, etc. This labeling needs to be presented in a language to be understood by the consumer. Normally, the language of the member country of destiny. But as well as it can be various language to allow in the infra-EU state. Kumbaga pa dito yung nakikita natin sa mga imported products. For example, sa mga chocolates or sa mga canned goods na nakalagay sa label, nakalagay doon sa label nila, merong translation or kung ano yung pinapractice na language sa isang country, yun yung nakalagay sa label. Then meron talagang nakalagay na translation. For example, nakatranslate siya into English. So there are some aspects to consider on the label. So this can be the following. So the name under which the product is sold, the net quantity of the pre-packed or prepackaged foodstuff, the date of the minimum durability consisting of day, month, and year in that order to preceded by the words best before and best before end, or they use by date or expiration date for highly perishable goods. The name of the business name and address of the manufacturer, the packer, or the EU seller. The particular of the places of origin or the provenance, and the lot identification. So for example, ito yung makikita natin sa mga pre-pack food products. So nakalagay yung origin, category, then yung way, then traceability code ng isang product. So ito yung mga basic na nakikita natin. Yung iba, gumagamit na ng QR code tsaka barcode para madali na lang i-scan, then malalaman na natin yung details regarding the product. So for pouch criteria or pouch area, the producers or exporter needs to provide information over the capture area or areas of the specific exported. One way to inform over the capture areas is to express it under the international normalized PAO fishing area to statistical purposes. Kumbaga pa, they are practicing the good conduct for legal catch of fish. For example, we have this one. So the labeling must bear that for fishery product under the PAO code. Then, next, we have laboratories to be used or for official control. For analytical result to have official validity, it must come from a laboratory accredited by the ISO and the IEC 17025 for those parameters to be analyzed. The standard specifies general requirements for the competence to carry out tests, and our calibration, it covers management and technical issues, and the key objective is to ensure the accuracy and quality of the result of the product. The next, so it is also important that they have followed the requirements regarding the use of potable water. An important topic that often does not get the right attention is the compliance of the water in contact with the product and or the personnel. The Council Directive of 9883 EC of November 3, 1998 and the quality of water intended for human consumption defines the characteristics of the water to be used by the food industry and the minimal sampling frequencies based on the volume used. It is really important to note that from the EU perspective, product can only be in contact with potable water and ice made from potable water also, or clean seawater for fishing vessels. So dapat yung clean water talaga yung ginagamit. Okay? So, we have formal steps towards the approval for imports. So, the EU has designed a procedure to evaluation of the eligibility of third countries for exporting fishery products into the EU. The national authority of third country must submit a formal request to the Directorate General for Health and Consumer Protection of the European Commission or to the EC to export a fishery products to the EU. The request should be contain confirmation that the authority can fulfill all relevant legal provisions and to satisfy the EU requirements. The Directorate General for Health and Consumer Protection sends out a questionnaire which should be completed and returned. Information on relevant legislation, competent authority, hygiene, and many other elements are requested also. For aquaculture products, a residue monitoring plan or exporting country must also be submitted and approved at this stage. Next, after evaluation of the paper submission, the FBO inspection or Food Veterinary Organization inspection may be carried out to assess the situation on the spot. Such as inspection is mandatory for high-risk products like shellfish. So, i-check yung mga shellfishes if positive ba siya for from red tide. So, based on the result for the evaluation or inspection and the guarantees given by the exporting country, the Directorate General for Health and Consumer Protection proposed the listing of the country, the specific conditions under when import of the country will be authorized by the list to approve of establishment in the country. These are then discussed with the representative of all EU member states. If the member state have a favorable option on the proposal, the European Commission to adopt specific import conditions. So list of eligible establishment can be amended at the request of exporting country and are made available under public on the internet. So the link was being provided at the slides. So as it was shown. So ito yung dapat nakalagay sa request ng isang company na nagpa-plan na mag-export sa EU. So ito yung sample nila. So for that, so we need, if you really seek to export product to the EU, so we must follow the set of standard that they require for a country na inoobliga talaga yung mga different establishment na mag-comply kung ano yung hinihingi na requirements para makapag-export sila for them to ensure that they can guarantee a good quality product and a safe product for their consumer. So that would be all.